Digital sovereignty. You've heard that term thrown around for years, right? It's a huge buzzword. But what if the entire conversation has fundamentally missed the point? Especially for those of you leading public service organizations. Well, today we're going to completely reframe this entire debate.
So let me just start with a really provocative question. We've been debating this topic for years. But what if we've been spending all this energy, all this time, trying to solve the completely wrong problem?
You know the typical debate. It's all about where the servers are, who owns the cloud, this whole geopolitical tug-of-war between US and European tech giants. But then there's the public service reality, the stuff that actually matters. A hospital can't just put up a sign that says, "Sorry, our software is down, so care stops today." That's just not an option. The mandate, the responsibility to the public, it's constant. It doesn't get to take a break just because a system failed. And that right there, that disconnect, it brings us to the absolute core of the issue. It's a fundamental framing error. The reason this whole debate feels like we're going in circles is that we've been arguing at the completely wrong level. Okay, so to really get this, let's break down an organization into 3 distinct layers. Think of it like a stack. At the very top, you've got the business layer. This is your mission, your mandate, and crucially, where all the liability sits. Right below that is the service layer. This is the actual value you promise to deliver. And then at the bottom, you have the system layer, all the tools and the tech infrastructure. And here, this is the light bulb moment. This is where it all goes wrong. Nearly every single conversation about digital sovereignty is stuck down at level 3, arguing about systems and tools. But real sovereignty, the kind that actually matters for a public service organization, it doesn't start with the tools. It starts way up at the top, at level 1, with the mandate that you simply cannot compromise on. So if we agree that the real goal is to protect that mandate, what does that actually look like in the real world? Well, it boils down to a critical architectural choice that every single leader has to make. Let's walk through 2 very different scenarios.
Okay, scenario A. This is the one you see all the time, total vendor lock-in. Imagine a hospital where this new AI triage system is deeply baked into one vendor's proprietary software. There's no plan B, no manual fallback if it goes down. The data is locked up tight. And if they want to switch to something new, it would take 2 full years. 2 years! And here's the really scary part for anyone in a leadership position. The liability for patient care still lands squarely on the hospital's leaders. But they have zero, absolutely zero operational control if that one system fails.
Now, let's flip that on its head and look at scenario B, a continuity architecture. In this world, the AI isn't some monolithic black box. It's a modular component that connects through standard interfaces. Manual fallback plans are designed from day 1. You're literally planning your exit strategy at the point of entry. And the result? The tech can change, you can swap out providers, but the core medical responsibility, the mandate, remains deliverable. That is what practical sovereignty actually looks like. You know, this incredible capability, it actually has a name. We call it migration power. This isn't about building your own cloud or anything like that. It's the structural, designed-in ability to move your core responsibilities from one system to another without the entire service collapsing. Basically, it's the power to switch without everything falling apart. And how do you get that power? Well, that's where something called a continuity architecture comes in. It's a complete shift in thinking. You're not just buying a system and crossing your fingers hoping it works forever. No, you're designing your entire organization so that service continuity and the ability to exit are baked in from the start, not some afterthought you panic about later. Okay, so this might all sound a bit architectural, a bit abstract. You might be wondering, why is this so incredibly urgent right now? Well, the answer is in 2 letters, AI. Look, here's a critical truth every single leader needs to internalize before they even think about AI. AI is not a magic wand that will fix your organization's problems. It's an amplifier. It takes whatever you already have, the good, the bad, the messy, and it just scales it at lightning speed. Just think about that risk for a second. If your services are vaguely defined, AI is just going to scale that confusion and make bad decisions faster than any human ever could. And if your lines of responsibility and liability are murky, AI will accelerate that exposure and create massive organizational risk. So the principle here, the main takeaway, is actually super simple, but it's incredibly powerful. No AI without a clear service architecture first. You absolutely have to define the service, the mandate, and the responsibilities before you even dream of scaling it with an algorithm. Which brings us to our final and honestly most important point. For anyone in public service leadership, this isn't just some IT issue tucked away in a back office. Your organizational architecture is your strategy for digital sovereignty. To make this real, we've got to completely shift our operational logic. The old way of thinking, the system-first model, was just plan, build, run. You'd build a giant monolithic system and just run it. The new model, the one that actually works, is service-centric. It's compose, commit, conduct. You compose services from different parts, you commit to clear outcomes, and you conduct the whole orchestra. So what does this actually mean for you as a leader? What's your strategic mandate here? Well, it means you define your services before you even look at a system. It means you design the exit strategy the moment you sign a new contract. It means you build those fallback paths. You have to know what happens when things go wrong. And maybe most importantly, you clarify your liability architecture before a crisis hits. So responsibility is anchored in the structure, not on the shoulders of one person when the tech inevitably fails. So if there's one thought that stays with you from all of this, let it be this one. The public mandate you are responsible for, that remains constant. The infrastructure, the technology that supports it is and always will be changing. Your job is to architect your organization for that reality. So let's end by being crystal clear. Digital sovereignty isn't about owning servers. It's about having the ability to change systems without your public responsibility imploding. That is the power of a continuity architecture. So the real question for you to take away is this: what does your architecture say about your sovereignty?